morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo First Gate, the Swedish Nafshi here in Yerushalyim, HaKodesh. This is our first year, 9 o'clock. We are learning Mishnah Brewer. We have breakfast, coffee, and cake, cookies, other good things to eat and drink here for you. You're welcome to join us. We are simply located close by to the central bus station here in Yerushalyim, on HaKodesh of the 6th, again, Beit Knesset of Yeshivas. So please, if you're coming, especially from Putzlaritz, we'd like to invite you to join us, and we will be pleased and very privileged to help you enrich your visit to Yerushalayim with as much Torah as possible. Okay, we've been discussing the first parak of Avos and the Mishnah relating to the statement of Yossi ben Yochanan Ish Yerushalayim. Let's just review the statement, and we'll continue on with our the commentaries. It's Nakuda about how we should be careful about who and what we speak in our speech. Yeah. Just keep the Mishnah over again to begin with.
Yossi ben Yochanan Ish Yerushalayim Omer Yehi Beitecha B'tuach Revacha V'yu Aniyim B'nei Beitecha V'al Tirbe Sicha Im Ha'isha V'ishto Omru V'chomer V'eshet Chavero Mikan Omru Chachamim Kol Zman She'adam Marbe Sicha Im Ha'isha Gorem Ra'a L'Atzmo Uvatel Midvrei Torah V'Sofo Yoresh Gehenim.
Okay, very good. Let's go to the Gemara in Eruvin, Daf Nun Gimel on the base. We have it down about 6 paragraphs into the sheet. Yeah, go on.
Eruvin, okay.
Yeah.
Rabbi Yosef Haglili Hove Ka Azil Orcha. So Rabbi Yosef Haglili is or was?
Well, how it had been or was, had been Ka Azil Orcha.
He was walking on a path?
Yeah, he was walking along the way.
Okay.
Walking along the way, okay.
Ashkacha Levrira.
The Bruria.
The brewery. Oh,
Brewery.
his wife, right? Brewery.
Well, Bruria was not his wife.
Oh.
It was
Or married?
I'm not sure. I couldn't remember. I could double check. All right. So he encountered along his way the Yossi encountered Bruria.
From what I remember, Brewery was a Talmud Chacham Chachamah, right?
Yes,
okay.
yes. She was very well versed in Talmud. Speak about that another time, perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happened.
Yeah.
Amar la, I said to her, "Be'ezo derech nelech lelod." He said to her, "Which is the path that can be taken to go to Lod?"
Right. They need directions. Rabbi Yossi really was on his way to obviously to Lud. He needed the directions, so he found Buri along the way, and so he asked her, "How do you get to Lud?"
Amra, she said, she said to him, Glili shoteh. Glili is an imbecile?
Yeah, Glili, you showed it. Glili, you're an imbecile.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Lokach amru chachamim al tarbe sicha im ha'isha. Have they not said, the sages, that you should not multiply, you should not multiply like frivolous conversation with a woman?
Right. You shouldn't be overly conversational with a woman. Right. So we'll just take out the Gemara for a moment. Nun Gimel, take a look here. He's right there. Last one, right? Nice. Take a look on Nun Gimel. I don't think there's an extra copy. By chance there might be.
grab one from the
You could if you like.
yeah, sure.
Nun Gimel Amud Beis, the very end of the Amud there. Four lines up to the bottom.
Starting with
By the two dots.
Two dots, okay.
If you like, you can work. Rabbi Yossi, go ahead.
Rabbi Yossi Glili, Hoveh Ezel Be'orcha. He was walking along the way, Ashkacha Lebruria, and then he found, I guess, Bruria.
Right.
Amar La said to her, Be'ezer derech nelech lelod. Amar Le, Glili, Shoteh. Lo kach amru chachamim al tarbe sicha im ha'isha.
He says, Galili, Shoteh. No kai has not been said by the Chachamim, Al Tiba, don't engage in excessive conversation with a woman.
Hayalacha lamer, that is to say to you.
Hayilo, you should have said, right? You should have said, right? Hayiloch lo'omer, you should have said. It was for you to say.
Okay. So this is, she's continuing her, so she's still speaking her.
Right.
So you should have said, Be'ezer lelod.
Period. That's that. So Rabbi Yossi Galili had said, right, to Bruria, Be'ezer derek nelek lelud.
Right.
And she criticized him and said, no, you should have been mikatzer, you should have shortened your words and just said Be'ezer lelud.
Right.
Which way to lud? They didn't have to, in which way are you going to, which way does a person go to lud? You can shorten your speech, and Be'ezer lelud, just say, which way to lud?
Right.
Oh, that was that. Okay, that's that.
Even two words, even two extra words constitutes.
Even two words. That's the whole point here. Even two words, because that's what he's basing that on the Mishnah Avos, on Mishnah Avos. So you see, even two words is something which Bruria criticized Yossi Galili for his excess conversation, his excess words when speaking to her. So this is a general attitude that Chazal emphasized for us. It's something which unless you grew up with it, you don't really have a sensitivity towards it. The value of words, even until the time of the Chafetz Chaim, people were insensitive to the Isra of Lashon Hara. The Chafetz Chaim realized that the time that he actually, and one of the reasons why he wrote the Sefer, and the many Svarim he wrote on Lashon Hara and Rechilas, is because people took speaking very lightly, and they didn't realize the severity of the Isra, the prohibition of speaking Lashon Hara, and the Ganai, Rechilas, and all these things. There's a lot to be said about speech in general, but what Chazal do say, take a look at the next statement here based on the Gemara Chulin, Pei Tes Amud Aleph.
Ma umanoso.
Umanoso. Ma umanoso.
What is his work?
What should be his profession?
Ma umanoso shel adam olam hazeh. In this world, Yasim Atzmo Kelim.
Right. Yasim should make himself kilim as if he's dumb. Meaning it's a speech, he can't talk.
Kelim. Okay, right. Okay, I thought the this was part of it.
Kilim is a kafadimin, right?
Exactly.
Right. So what's the profession? Because I'll say in the Gemara, what's the profession a person should pursue in this world?
Like silence.
He should make himself as if he's dumb, as if he can't speak. Gemara continues.
Yachol af lezavrei Torah. He can can aspire to, I guess, divrei Torah.
Well, this is like a question. Yochel, like you would think,
Mm.
Yochel, you would think, Av also for divrei Torah, I mean, he's not supposed to speak divrei Torah as well, right?
Mm.
Well, that's different. Why? Talmud, there's a passage that says,
Tzedek tidabron.
to
That is righteous to, you should speak of them.
right, like righteousness, you should speak. You should speak about righteousness. I mean, that's a reference to the Torah, not the Tzorchi mitzvah.
Wow.
So you see that what Chazal is saying here, that a person should be marba sita be'isha, is just a sniff. Hello, this good morning. It's just a sniff, just a branch of a larger hashkafa, a larger attitude towards how a person and what a person is supposed to speak about.
Mm.
Right? So again, as you know, unless you have training in this, you're really not exposed to these concepts and these ideas, especially in the secular world and non-Jewish lifestyles. You know, it's simply not. It's not appreciated. It's not understood. It's not even. I mean, they do have such a concept. Silence is golden. I don't know who said that. One of the Greek philosophers told it. So have to look it up and find out who said that exactly. And, but you should know most of the Kuzari says that most if not all the philosophical wisdoms of the non-Jews is really taken from Shlomo Melech. They really brings that when at the time of the Korban of bias, so they came especially the early philosophers came and they raided the libraries that were here in Yerushalyim, took all the wisdom and they incorporated it for themselves and plagiarized it. So all these kind of ideas that have a reference to things that we believe and understand to be true, proper reports in Mishkachas is really something that they got from us. But the fact that they took such a thing like that and said silence is golden, right? They realized that there's something to it. Right? They could have taken other things. They didn't take everything. Things that they did take, but they realized that there's something to it. So the question is that we're going to try and develop the next few days this whole concept that silence is golden, and why should that be? Right? So and then not to be marba sikha be'isha even with a person's own life. Right? That's only, as I said, a spin-off of this basic attitude. It's just an application of the attitude which applies to all aspects of a person's life. We'll go into that in a few ways.
Can I just ask one quick question?
Sure.
That story about how the Gentiles raided the library, is that in the Gemara or the
No, not even.
Midrash?
It's not Medrash. It's the Kuzari.
Oh, Kuzari.
I think it's the Kuzari. I think they're the first minor. One we can try and it's based, I think, on a statement very wicked. I'm not sure. I have to check it out. The article Kelm brings it down. So it's probably in the next segment. It might be in the next room.
Brings it down.
I think brings it down. That statement brings down. He quotes it B'Shem Kuzari from that statement.
In Ketuvim, you said?
In they have a collection of the statements of the Alta from Kelm, and based on the Talmudim, I think it's in that collection. You can find it. You can look it up and see. We have a break. You can try and see if they have the sacred things in the library next door. You might be able to find it. Yeah. You can find it.
I have Kuzari at home. I can probably look it up.
Yeah, I'll have to find out exactly where it is. I think it's in the first minor, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll check. Good. Now, if we proceed to the last citation on the bottom, it's just the Rambam in Hukas Deus. Now, this is going to be just an application of what we were discussing last week, in the beginning of this week, the Gemara in Shabbos Lamed Gimel Lamed Beis with Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. What was someone was asking, what was the point about Yehuda ben Yair mentioning, speaking about what was discussed amongst Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi and the Ben Yochai, and eventually got back to the Malchus. So the Rambam cites this in terms of his Hilchos Deis in reference to Lashon Hara. Take a look at this Rambam.
אחד המספר לשון הרע בפני חברו או שלא בפניו, והמספר דברים שגורמים אם ישמע איש מפי from the mouth איש להזיק חברו בגופו או במנו ואפילו להצר לו או
להצר לו, to cause him suffering.
להפחידו, or to raise the lashon hara. Let me just translate.
Yeah.
It's the same if one gives over lashon hara before his friend or not in front of him. And it's the same if he gives over words, so should go I mean.
Cause words that cause.
That cause, with the hearing of them, a man.
They'll be heard each mipi from one person to the next. Meaning, if he's going to speak words that would cause, if they're going to be heard from one person to the next, meaning it's going to be travel, the usual travel, the message of what he's trying to say will travel. If it's going to be passed on from one person to the next,
And lahazik.
To cause damage.
All right. Okay, to damage Chaviro to his friend, the Gufo, in his body, or B'mamana, in his money, or even just to cause him distress, or hafchida, to cause him to fear greatly. Hareza lashon hara, ve'im na'amru devarim, and if they are said words, elu b'fnei shlosha, before three people, kavar nishma hadavar nodea, even if they've already heard the matter and are aware of it. Ve'im siper hadavar achad min shlosha amacheret, if one of the three people tells it over to someone else, ein ba mishum lashon hara, it's not lashon hara. V'hu shelo itkavein la'avir hakol v'lagalus galuto yoter. So I'm.
Yeah, this last line is really a special head there, a special permissibility, which is really not, we don't approve of this in halakha. But if the person is going to speak something, something that was said over 3 times already, then there's not going to be any lashon hara involved. That's as long as he's not intending that it should be passed on, called that the sound, meaning that the message should be passed on further, and that it should be become more widespread.
What's he saying in the Nafshi?
Don't talk lashon hara because it's going to cause people distress, pain, loss of money, damage to their own body or belongings. They don't do any of that.
That's why they say he sounds golden.
Yeah.
The Gemara Megillah says that one word is worth one and sounds is worth double.
Yeah. Okay, so if you turn the page, this is now the Chavetz Chaim is going to relate this halakha of the Rambam to what we were learning about with Yerushalyim ben Yochai last week, in the beginning of this week.
So Chavetz Chaim lashon hara be'er mayim. Okay. Oma shekatav harambam sham b'halacha hey, which is what we just read.
That's exactly right. That's what we just read. Good.
המספר דברים שגורמים אם נשמו וכולי. היינו אפילו אם לא יספר Beganoto?
Beganusa klal.
Beganoto klal. Oh, Beganuta is like shame or disgrace.
Disgrace, right? I mean, he's not saying anything that's necessarily. Meaning the yesod of lashon hara is generally understood to be that it's going to cause some lack of respect, or the person who's being spoken about will not be seen in such high esteem as before after you've heard the lashon hara. But here, based on the Rambam, the Chafetz Chaim is explaining that even if it's not any lack of respect, it's simply going to cause some damage, causing fear, sorrow, physical or monetary loss. That's also in the category of lashon hara, even though it's not in any way disrespectful or disgraceful. It might be a praise, but sometimes you could praise somebody to the wrong person. It's going to cause him, if you talk to somebody in the mafia and say, well, this guy just made a really good business deal and he's starting up, and the mafia is just happy to find out about new customers. Right? So you're going to cause this person a loss because you know he's saying something very true and something very good and even praiseworthy, but you have to be careful as to whether or not what you're saying and what you're doing is going to cause some kind of a loss in the end. And that's what we're going to see. And now the Chafetz Chaim and others, it's not the Chafetz Chaim won't get us, the Chafetz Chaim is going to bring as the proof to this, like the whole situation with Yerushalyim and Yerushalyim.
Oh, I heard that one idea about this was really resonates with me. Is that you should be careful not to compliment, because if you're too complimentary, you'll have to qualify it and say, oh, he's great, right? I feel like I do that all the time. So be careful about that.
Don't compliment somebody to probably somebody
Is this hyena or hyena?
Let's take it. Hyena. That is what that means to say hyena. That is even if low something even if he's not speaking disgracefully.
Rock Sha'al. Only Sha'al Yadei the Rav Yislav was there. Only at the means of his words that surround us.
Yeah. A rock ayidei the world. This story was that rock only if through his words it will be a cause to this. It will be a cause to this. Meaning there's the words themselves are perfectly appropriate and even perhaps within a certain context worthy to be said. However, if it's going to be that these proper and worthy words will be passed on to the wrong people, right, and that's going to cause a difficulty, a loss, or a distress to somebody, that's going to also be in the category of lashon hara.
Kama shekatav hakesef Mishnah. Oh, and as it is written in the Kesef Mishnah, which is a commentary to Rambam.
Right.
Raya, there's proof, ladin, for the ruling, the Harambam, Ma'aseh, the Rabbi Yehuda.
The Rabbi Yehuda ben Geras. That's interesting that they put the Rebbe, because really the Gemara did mention it being a Rebbe, but the Maisa, Rabbi Yehuda ben Geras.
The Sham lo nitkaven the Ganuto Bazan, and there he did not intend to disgrace him. The Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. So is this referring to a certain case between Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai and Yehuda ben Gerim?
Right. That was how it started off. If you remember, we had the Gemara that the Gemara asked there in Shabbos Lamed Gimel Lamed Beis that why was Rabbi Yehuda referred to Rosh Hashanah.
Okay.
So it said that they once were sitting Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, and also Yehuda ben Gerim. And so Rabbi Yehuda started off and said, "Man doim ha'ma'asim shalom hazeh."
I remember. Okay. So the Mishnah is saying that there was no intention for lashon hara here.
Right. Lo niskaven lebenusus bezeh. He was not intending to disgrace Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai in this.
Right. And Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai was subsequently sentenced to death, right? So so that was pretty serious. Ki siper rak bebeito, because he was only speaking in his house. The kamo sheperosh Rashi sham, as Rashi says there. So as you think that because he's not talking in his house, it's lashon hara because who's going to hear him?
Right.
But really, the words had tremendous consequences.
Right. And you follow, go down to the HaKodesh, the next citation in the Swakilis, also in Beir Maritime, and the HaKodesh follows up with some more explanation. Go ahead.
Okay. Afilu lo amar ile. So this is going back to this is a quote of
The Rambam.
the Rambam. Okay. Mikoro HaRambam.
Even if it's not going to be that he's speaking specifically with any disgraceful intentions in mind.
Mikoro HaRambam, Perek Zayin Halacha.
Perek Zayin, that's what Perek Zayin Halacha. That's what we want. That's our original Rambam we were reading.
Oh yes. So I was wondering, what is a Hey Nun London?
Oh, Haniska La'el.
Ah.
As was mentioned, Niskar, as was Niskar mentioned La'el above, or previously.
Niskar Leil.
Yes.
Halacha Hey.
The Masha Kosu.
Oh, the Mash Pitu, right, okay. The Mispar, Amisaper Devarim, Shegoranim, the Kulei, or the Hatzar Lo Kulei. The Ken Katuv, the Ken Katav Haspar, Yad HaKatana, of the Perek Tet. And it's also written that concerning someone who tells a minor, Katana?
Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me, 1 second. Yada Katana. No, that's the name of the sefer. V'kein kasav hasefer Yada Katana. Right. That's it's likewise wrote in the sefer Yada Katana. That's also a commentary in the Rambam.
Okay. I've never heard of that commentary before.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Mehal Chod.
Deus.
Deus. Shalom. This is all like just building up to it. I'm like getting. Okay. V'yesh ra'aya lazeh, and there's proof for this.
That's the riot for this Gam King.
Gam King.
Also. Good morning.
Gam King. May Shabbat. Tam Gimel. Amud Bet, which is what we read the other day. The Ma'aseh Divrei Yehuda Ben Gerim, and here there's no rabbi. Interesting. Oh no, actually,
it does Ben Gerim. Just put it in Rabbi.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Yehuda Ben Gerim, She'asaper Hadavurim V'nishamu V'kulei V'perush
Rashi.
Perush. So, how do you know it's Rashi?
That's usually like it's putting all together one word. Perush. That should be
wow.
above pay slash, right?
Right.
That should be a slash, not a yud.
Well, I mean, it seems like almost like they've taken the resh and the shin of Perush and the resh and the shin from Rashi and just combined it.
Yeah, that's right. It could be like sort of an acronyms type of thing. It's not just an abbreviation. It could be. Yeah.
Very clever. Yeah. Okay, Perush Rashi, Sham, Siper, Adivarim, Veto, Vela Besof, Mikal Below, and at the end of
like in Libisov, and in the end is Gadolo.
Adivarim, Ayidei
of the Zeh.
Zeh.
Meaning, Rashi explains that Yehuda ben Gerim went ahead and told his family, right? And in the end, the word got back to the Malchus. The word that when Shimon ben Yochai was critical of the Romans, that eventually got back to the Roman authorities, right?
So Nikal below means that he passed it on.
Yeah, it got passed on, right?
Okay. V'devar ze nachshav
Lashon hara.
lashon hara.
So this is considered, right, to be lashon hara.
Meda asho levasuf Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai avor ze gal shel asmot v'ra'aya ze remez kesef mishnah. So I'm not sure what dasho means. Is that sound right? No? I read it lashon hara. Nachshav lashon hara.
Right, and for this thing was considered lashon hara. What's the proof? The Chafetz Chaim's proof that this was considered lashon hara, and this is the basis of the Rambam. That in the end, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai of Zed did to Yehuda ben Gerim because of it. Gal Atzomas, he turned him into a pile of bones. The Gemara goes on and continues on. He didn't do it, but Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, when he eventually met up with Yehuda ben Gerim, he turned him into a pile of bones.
Oh.
Because through his speaking about this, the word got back to the government, and that's what caused Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai to flee. So you see, a person like he has to be careful what he's talking about, how much he's talking about, the effect of what he is saying, right? All these things are very important rules to follow when a person's going to be speaking about anything. Right? So again, unless you're trained and indoctrinated into such a attitude, you don't really have any way of knowing and being sensitive to the words that you say. Yeah. So now let's just begin. Now let's take a look again. Again, we had the mimer of Rabbi Yochanan Ish Yerushalyim, who said, "Al tarba sicha imish." You shouldn't be excessive in your conversations with women. And the Ishto, this is talked about in reference to a person's own wife. Kol v'chomer eishes kabel. Even more so if you're going to be having to speak to your friend's wife, another woman besides your own wife, right? So let's take a look at Rashi's explanation here. Beirut Rashi, that's the third citation from the top there.
Okay. Altar be'esicha im ha'isha, ve'afilu haya ishtecha, even if she's your wife, lefi she'ata mitbatel midivrei Torah, because you're middling from words of Torah, o she'im ba'at laharbot im'a divarim. So, or if she will come to multiply with her or increase with her words, tabel ispar la machloknet.
Oh, so okay, so one second. Okay, so Rashi is explaining, right, as the Mishnah said, even to your own wife, you should be excess in your conversations. Sha'atim is bottom of Divrei Torah. That says the Mishnah said. You said because you're going to be mevatel from Divrei Torah. Or shim bas laharbo sima devorim. Right. If you're going to have excess words between you and your own wife, right? Tava, it's going to come l'saper to speak law. You're going to come to speak to her, right? Hamachloki sha'asis im kavurecha is going. You're going to come to speak about this. She's going to want to know what happened during your day. You got into a fight with this guy in the davening, and the guy in the mokolet trying to jip me out of a dime. And so I told him, "What are you doing? You're tripping me." And he said, "No." We got into a big fight, right? going to start to speak about all kinds of things, right? V'daitan.
V'daitan shel nashim kala aleha, and their das, are the mind of women is light upon them.
The das of nashim kala alehim, and they take things easy. Their attitude is relaxed. Right? They have a relaxed attitude, right? And miyad, she's going to hear these things, right? She's going to hear all these things. And
and right away, she will go and she will gossip with her friends. Maybe?
Well, this kata, she'll quarrel.
A quarrel.
Katata is a quarrel, right?
Okay.
So she's taking things lightly in terms of her seriousness and being careful about different things. So she'll hear all these things, and she'll say, this fellow got into a fight with my husband, so he's now going to go to his wife, that fellow's wife, and start fighting with that fellow's wife.
Okay. Right. Eshet Chavercha, the wife of your friend, of your colleague. Timtza maybe a day bizon, and you'll find that this will bring into the hands of bizon is like contempt. Kach mefaresh ba'avot de Rabbi.
That's Avos to Rabbi Nosson. That's in the back of the Gemara. It's the Avos to Rabbi Nosson. It's like bizarre.
Right. So this is expounded in the Avos of Rabbi Nosson. Avot in the Eretz Yisrael.
That came.
Eretz Yisrael.
Now, so they had basically two editions of the Avos to Rabbi Nosson. One was that came from Eretz Yisrael, and in contrast, the next line in the Rashi here will be the one that came from Tzarfas, France. So the one that comes from Eretz Yisrael gave the reason that one of the reasons that you shouldn't get involved with too much talking with your wife is because you're going to start telling her eventually all the things that happened during the day. And as things happen, right, that sometimes machlokas come up, and disagreements and quarrels come up, we'll discuss these things with her too, and she's going to go run off and start to carry the fight even further to the wife of the fellow that the husband got into a little bit of a skirmish with, right? That's what's brought down from the Chazal of Avos Rabbi Nosson of Eretz Yisrael. Avos Rabbi Nosson of Tzarfas and the Avos Rabbi Nosson of France. What do they explain in a different way? Go ahead.
They explain Mokim. Mokim is to be Mekayim something? So
yeah, well, here Mokim means that they want to define it, meaning what you're talking with the statement of Avos was, right, Al Tarbe Sike Im Isha, Filo be Ishto Omer. So they set it up, the Ishto, what? Ishto, they're setting it up, they're defining the Ishto that's referred to by Rabbi Yossi ben Yochanan, that's the Ishto Nida. That's when the person's wife is in Nida. Not, according to the first version, it's any wife at any time. But according to the second version, it's specifically referring to when the husband's wife is in Nida. Why?
V'kidei shelo yava ima v'dei avera nir'ed from the anger.
Right. So what avera is come to transgression. Meaning, if a person's going to get into over the excessive conversations with his wife when she's in Nida, they might get overly friendly, right? And that might, Has Shalom, bring to not necessarily the actual act, but even if when they're in Nida, they can't do so many different things are forbidden for the husband and wife to do, right? So they may will be transgressing even some of the what we call the harkakas, the offenses, the precautions that we are accustomed and obligated to keep when a woman is in need.
So
that's the Avos to Rabbi Nosson of Tzarfas. Now Rashi says, with Nira it appears, seems,
Nira, it appears Da'ape
Ta'afilu.
Adafilu Torah Lefi Shabbat Batel Divrei Torah.
So Rashi explains, furthermore, that even if she's tahora, not simply if she's in nida, that's definitely so. But even if the wife is in tahora, right, he shouldn't be excessively conversational with his wife because it's going to mivatum a different Torah. He'll be spending a lot of time talking to his wife, and he won't be learning. Right? So, first of all, you see from here that you see, like, mivatum of their Torah. We're going to be getting into this further as we get further into this whole topic. A person's going to, spend his life, really spending his life with words of Torah. That should be his primary activity with his mouth and his tongue and his teeth and his vocal cords, divrei Torah. And if he's not going to be doing those things with his blessed ability to speak, then he'll be doing other things with his power of speech, which are not to his best interest. So just a few more words in Rashi. Now it says, Kol v'chomer, even more so. If this is all being said about a person's own wife, Kol v'chomer eishes kaver, even more so with the wife of another man.
Yeah. Shalo yarda sicha ima ipnei ha-chashad.
The chashad is to create suspicions. Meaning, if a person's going to be overly conversational with another person's wife, people will begin to get an idea, perhaps, that something's going on between them. When these two people are both married to other people talking to, what's this man talking to another man's wife about? So it's such a long time. What these people got it must be all up to something. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll continue this tomorrow.